What is the most important item in my home studio? So I've played guitar for at least 25 years of my life, and in the past 5 or so years, I've been setting up this home studio incrementally. I've been recording for over 10 to 15 years. I started out on an iPad with Cubasis in my apartment, and I've kind of grown from there. And I don't play guitar as much as I used to on my older videos because I was, usually preparing to play out in a cover band and things like that. So more of my time's going into this and music production, which I thoroughly enjoy, but I certainly still play guitar. So before I tell you what I think is the most important item in a home studio, I thought I'd give you a quick tour of everything in here. So obviously, you could see I still have my guitars hanging up here on the sides. It's kind of looks aesthetic, although you could argue it might affect sound monitoring whenever you're doing a mix. But there's my Charvels and Floyd Roses you could see from other videos, and then over here I have my more traditional classic guitars, a Fender Strat, Paul Reed Smith, a Les Paul, and then this custom guitar that I kind of rebuilt and painted like 15, 20 years ago. So, first off, I built a computer for down here. I'm not going to talk about that now, but it does have an Antec case, which is supposed to be quiet, so it doesn't make noises when you're recording, but I haven't really found that to be a big issue. And my DAW, digital audio workstation, my software is I've been using. So as I said earlier, I started out with Cubase and now or Cubasis, and I'm now on Cubase 13. I started out on Cubase 11 down here. Once I got to Cubase 13, I find that like with Windows updates, it glitches out more often than not. I have to restart, but it is what it is. This is a touch screen here, which is kind of nice. You can see I have a song playing, but I have it muted. You can play with these sliders, which is kind of nice with the touch screen. You can kind of see it works here. That's pretty nice. Gives you kind of an old school, mixing vibe, I guess, without having the actual board. Here's my. You also need this. This is my audio interface. So this is where I plug in these quarter-inch inputs, record vocals, guitar, mics, what have you. And not only does it record, this is my lines out in the back that are feeding my speakers, which those cubes on top are called Tone 5Cs. Those are legendary speakers from I believe, the 80s that uh, have a lot of mid-range but not much bass. They kind of don't sound that great for listening back for entertainment, but if you can make a mix sound good on those, generally it's going to sound good everywhere, which is the biggest challenge in music production. And the speakers underneath, these are the Newman KH122s, I believe they're called. Boy, these speakers are they knock my socks off coming from KRK Rockets, ROKITS. I think that's how you say that. That was a big upgrade. Very pricey, but well worth it. My mixes started translating into the car once I got these. I do have a subwoofer here as well. I'm going to keep touching on the music studio here while I try to keep this video short. This is a JBL subwoofer. I went with this subwoofer. I know you can get one with the Newmans, but it was kind of pricey. The reviews on this JBL, if I remember when I was looking into this years ago, people were saying it didn't have a lot of bass. But I measured my room with a calibrated mic, and I got pretty good bass and flat response. So I think it's good for that purpose, which is what this is for. Yeah, I guess if you're listening for just entertainment and you want a lot of bass, yeah, I guess it could be lacking. So I have the two screens here as well on a stand, and those are indeed connected to this computer. I think that's obvious. You can see I can drag right here with the mouse things back and forth. Reason I have the speakers up against the wall is you kind of don't want sound blocking the speakers here. You want to maintain this triangle here. A quick note about my guitars here. I do still have my G Major 2 foot controller there, that Behringer. Saw that in another video. I have my Friedman foot switch, my Mesa Boogie V twin foot switch. And also, this is a pedal, velocity pedal or whatever for this keyboard. What is this? A launch key. So this is hooked up to this, so you can play drums and keyboard and synth on it. You kind of saw this earlier, but Marshall JCM 2000. I never use that thing anymore. I haven't used it in so long, but whenever I still was using it, after about 5 or 10 minutes of use, the sound would cut out. I think there's bad capacitors. It's a known issue, so it is what it is. This Angles is a pretty nice, smaller all-tube practice amp. The speaker's not the greatest inside of it, but kind of nice to have. Here's the old Mesa Boogie V twin preamp with the Mesa Boogie 5050 stereo power amp. So this actually is hooked up and is usable. So I got really long speaker cables on Amazon, and they wrap all the way around the room. You can see right there, these cables go by the fridge here. And all the way to the back, I still have my Marshall 4x12 from my cover band days. So that actually is connected here. And I have cushions here from outside. This is where we store them. And it actually kind of muffles the sound a bit, so I can crank it up if I want. This other cord, there's another cord here. I do have like a microphone on here, so that I can actually record off of this too if I wanted to. So, last thing in the room that you probably noticed this whole time, what do I have on the walls? I have actual bass traps. So I have the floating cloud, as they call it here, as many as I could fit. I have some on the corners here, as many as I could fit. You prioritize within your budget where you can put the most bass trapping. And you probably saw I also have them in the corners here. The corners is like the first spot that they say you should treat in music production. And then I also have these two floating ones here. Floating, they're on stands, but I can move them out of the way so we can go out back there onto the back patio. So what is the most important part of the studio? I gotta say the biggest difference, and you'll probably know about this online, is bass trapping. That made the biggest difference in making my mixes translating. And then second is these speakers right here. The Newmans, very pricey, but well worth it.